All right, welcome in. It's time for this week's Straight Up Thoughts. And listen, the madness, you're going to hear it a lot here in the upstate over the next few weeks. And that includes beginning tomorrow, Wednesday, down at the Well. You have the SEC Women's Tournament. South Carolina does come in as the top seed, but they're not invincible this year like Don Staley's Gamecocks have been in previous years. They do come in as the number 1 seed. Texas number 2, but there's any of 5 or 6 teams that might be able to win this women's tournament. But I'll go ahead and make you a bet. Somehow, some way, the Gamecocks will be there come the finals on Sunday. Why? Because the Well has become the Gamecocks' home away from home. But my favorite tournament's going on up in Asheville, North Carolina. It's the SoCon tournament. Listen, it's a one-and-done bid league. By that, I mean only one team's going to advance to the NCAA tournament. Everybody else will walk off the floor, likely their last game of the season. You just can't beat the emotion. You can't beat the hustle. I'll never forget a couple of years ago, Furman hits a shot to go up 2. Looks like they're going to go to their first NCAA tournament in 40 years. And what happens? Chattanooga comes down the court, hits a 40-footer, wins by 1, and advances to the NCAA tournament. You could not beat the emotion in that building that evening. It was absolutely incredible. All right, don't look now. We just had the Palmetto State Series. Paul Molinari's in his first year as head coach at South Carolina, but he obviously has some offensive issues to fix as Clemson sweeps the series, gives up, maybe less than 5 runs, I think, for the entire series. And the Tigers have moved up to number 4 in this week's rankings. Again, just 1 loss on the season. That was the opening weekend in a big tournament to Ole Miss. So it'll be interesting now to see how Clemson does with ACC play right on the horizon. Okay, speaking of horizon, wow, that was a good intro. Brad Brownell made his move to Clemson 15 years ago from a Horizon League school. Clemson has been very loyal. Brad Brownell has made 5 NCAA tournaments here during his time at Clemson. However, the last 3 years, he's accumulated almost 70 wins, made it to the Elite 8 of last year's tournament. Don't look now, the Tigers are 24-5, best year in the ACC, I believe ever, right now at 16-2. So people have been asking me from the Midwest whether I thought that Brad Brownell would be a serious candidate in Indiana. His name's being bantied about. First of all, Indiana went out there and thought they could talk to Brad Stevens and get him to come back. You know, the former Butler head coach there at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, but he's not leaving Boston. He's got one of the greatest jobs in the NBA, Brad Stevens. In fact, you may not know, he is an upstate native, born right in Greenville, South Carolina. But getting back to the Indiana job, you're talking about so many people that have come in there and failed. Archie Miller, Mike Woodson right now. There's been a lot of drama in that Indiana program. Is that good for Brad Brownell or is that bad? Well, quite frankly, it may play into good because one thing you don't hear from Brad Brownell and his Tigers is any drama. They just handle their business. And Coach Brownell, to his credit, has figured out this NIL and transfer portal as well as any head coach in college basketball right now. Just look at the last 2 seasons. So would that be good enough pedigree-wise for Indiana? No, but then you start looking at some of the layers underneath. Brad Brownell played at DePaul University, not DePaul in Chicago, DePaul in Indiana, where he was a Sigma Chi. I was Sigma Chi at Alabama. However, he played for a guy that did play for Bobby Knight. So it gives you those kind of tentacles back to the master of Indiana.